Lisa Leslie. A three-time MVP in the Women's National Basketball Association, as well as a four-time Olympic gold medalist. Hall of Famer. She launched a modeling career after college, started a family with her husband, Air Force Academy graduate and pilot Michael Lockwood, obtained a master's degree in business and became author with the release of her first book, Don't Let the Lipstick Fool You. Lisa has been a commentator for ESPN, ABC, Turner, and Fox Sports Net, and is the co-host of the first all-female sports talk show, We Need to Talk, on CBS. Expanding her already diverse resume, Lisa began an acting career with cameo appearances on television shows including Martin, Sister Sister, Moesha, and One on One. She also obtained roles in feature films including Love and Basketball and Think Like a Man. 3 U.S. presidents, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama, have invited Lisa to the White House to acknowledge both her accomplishments and philanthropic work over the years. Oakland University, please show your love for Lisa Leslie.
To be here. This was just, it's amazing, thank you. It was amazing just to be a part and listening to all the recipients. So, yeah, I was overwhelmed. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you, Oakland University, for having me. I want to thank the president, amazing words that you had. I thought that you might have been there when I was writing my speech, so some things we may repeat, but that's okay. I thought it was awesome. I want to also thank faculty, staff, those first responders, anyone in the military, veterans. My husband also served in the military, so I'm also thankful for all of you who protect our country and protect us every day. So thank you. I want to give a special thanks to Omar. Thank you for taking care of me. Omar picked me up, and I'm like, the snow in Detroit? Y'all know I'm a California girl. I was on the plane freaking out. I'm like, oh Lord, I don't know. But I made it here safely. It's very beautiful. The snow is great. My son's going to be very disappointed he didn't come with me. But when I thought about this opportunity to speak on Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's Day, I said a quick prayer, to be honest with you, because I wanted to make sure I had the right words and the right turn, the right tone, because I know how important it is when you talk about everything that Dr. King stood for. It's very powerful to know about that fight, about the hustle that we have, right? That all of our people have had, about our dreams that we want to achieve and be successful, but also to keep in his dream. It is a challenge for us because we're in such a time where you can't even believe that we're still discussing some of the same things that we're discussing. I don't know if you guys get overwhelmed by that, but I do. It's just amazing that we have to continue to validate ourselves based on the color of our skin. I don't know, I mean, what do you guys think? It's almost silly, right? We're talking about the way that we were born, and someone mentioned it, I think, on the video, the fact that we didn't have a choice, right? We're here, but I'm thankful, and you guys should be thankful for who you are as well. As I work and think about the equality, the importance of who we are, regardless of our race, our religion, our creeds, our backgrounds, our sexual orientation, we have to remember Dr. King's words that still ring in our minds and in our hearts. And as we know, he influenced civil rights and had racial discrimination that he suffered and went through that we still do today. In 2020, this fight is something that we have to continue to fight for. We really do. And we can't sit aside and think that it's someone else's fight. It's each of ours, each individual. So I think about that in all the videos that I saw. I want to say again, congratulations to all of you who are young in this fight. It's unfortunate that you even have to participate in it, but you do. That's just the way it is. I think about the times that I have to sit my children down and talk about some of the things that the president talked about, even the situation that happened in Virginia, I believe it was 2 years ago now. Watching that on the news and having to tell then my 7-year-old son and explain to him what was happening. And I thought, wow, I can't believe we still have to reintroduce racism and inequality to our children, to another generation. But we do. We have to talk about it. And it's uncomfortable at times. But I'm also here to tell you that we have to be encouraged. We have to stay positive. We have to keep fighting. And so I thought about talking today and I said, I have to ask the question. The question that I want you to continue to ask, similar to the president who asked you to ask that question, but that question I say is, why not me? Why not me? I was set on this path of success, and I thought about, how did I get here with all these accolades? I mean, I did a lot in basketball and sports, and I believe that God really chose me and gave me that platform to play, because God knows when I was a young girl, I was not the sporty girl. I was a girl on the side making sure everybody was okay, trying to get them some water, because I was a little afraid, you know. But through sports, that toughness built up in me, and that courage, and some of you I saw in your stories, you learn to get your voice, right? And once you get that voice, you can't hold back. You got to get out there, and you got to speak, and it becomes bigger than just you. So definitely, yes, I played basketball, and I loved it, and it's given me so many platforms, but I still knew that I had to use my voice for something bigger than me. And so when I reflect and I ask that question, I think that I get here just because I was disciplined. So there's two things when it comes to discipline. There's people that are disciplined who do what they're supposed to do, and then those of us that are self-disciplined. We do what we're supposed to do without being told. And I think, yeah, that may be a reason for some of my success. Another reason for my success is that I've always been a goal setter. I've always written down my goals, short-term goals, or goals that I wanted to achieve within 1 year. And then I would write down my long-term goals, which were goals that I wanted to achieve within 5 years. And I thought, you know, my mom had always inspired me, Lisa, you can do anything you want to do. It's going to take hard work, but you can do it. She would tell me the 7 P's, and the 7 P's are proper, prior preparation, prevents piss poor performance. And so with the 7 P's, my mom was like, listen, if you study, if you try, if you work hard, if you put your mind to it, you have to make sacrifices in order to be successful. But if you do those things, you're more likely to be successful. So I always keep the 7 P's with mom. But I keep thinking about still, as I was preparing to speak today, is it just about being self-disciplined? Is it about setting those goals? Then I said, well, I would always ask myself that question, why not me? I'm a girl from Compton, California. Now you guys might know where Compton is now as you saw the movie Straight Outta Compton, right? Yeah, it's the inner city, and you know, I'm speaking to folks from Detroit, so you know, we understand that we also have some challenges in some of our neighborhoods, right? We don't always get provided with the best books and education, but we have an opportunity, and whatever it is, we have to take it. So I took that opportunity. I understood the importance of education. I was raised by a single mom. You say, why not me? My mom worked so hard. I have 2 sisters. My mom was a truck driver. My mom drove an 18-wheeler truck across the country. She had 2 things. She had her nails polished and her lipstick tucked in her bra. But she did a job that was tough, and to me as a young girl looking at my mom work as hard as she did, it told me, hey, I can do anything I want to do, regardless of what the job is, but I have to maintain my femininity, because that's what mom did. So hence, if anybody ever saw me play, you know I had on my lipstick, and that's why my book is called Don't Let the Lipstick Fool You. Because I think sometimes as women, you know, we have to get out there and we have to fight, we have to work hard, but it's okay to embrace the fact that we are women. And I say it's always a choice. We may be women, but it's a choice to be a lady, and I've always tried to choose to be a lady. So here we go. Do we have to give ourselves permission to fight for change and what's right. So we have to give ourselves permission to want to dream and want to be great and want to be successful. We don't have to give ourselves permission. We just have to do it. We just have to get out there and do it. And for those who don't want to make space, we have to tell them to scoot over. Make room. We're coming through. I believe there's more of us who truly love, who recognize that we are all God's children, that we are people, that there's good people and bad people in the world. I lived in Italy for a while because I was playing professional basketball there, and I had an Italian family that embraced me when I came there. They called me Grande Lisa, because obviously I was large, bigger than most of the Italian folks, and Lisa is what they call me. And so I would go there, loving people, eat some great food, right? And so one time I told my Italian brother, Alfredo, I'm like, Alfredo, let's go to this ice cream shop. And he's like, no, we can't go there. And so he gives me this sign, like, those are bad people, right? So of course I look over, all I see is Italian people. They all look alike to me, right? Because they're all Italian. But the thing that I learned in that moment is that no matter where you go in the world, there's two types of people. There's good people and there's bad people. And we come in all different shades, colors, races, and creed. And that's what we need to know. It's not about the skin color, because how would I have known anything different? I was in Italy. They were all Italian. There's not that many black people there in Italy. So for me, how would I know the difference? But he knew, because he knew the location. He knew what was going on in that area. And so sometimes we have to recognize how silly it is to judge people based on what they look like on the outside. We have to start to recognize and spread the word and continue to spread the word that it's about two types of people. And yes, you may come into some situations where it's bad people. In city, we've all been there. We know when it's time to cross the street or you need to leave the place that you're in because there's bad people there. But we don't have to judge everyone based on the outside and what their skin looks like. We really got to continue to educate other people about that and making that change. And so I want to say to you, I looked up some quotes that I love. I love quotes all the time. But Dr. King said it when we're talking about being in this fight here in 2020. This quote still makes sense today. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moment of comfort and convenience, but where he stands of challenge and controversy. People, we are in a time of challenge and controversy right now. But we have to also continue to fight for what is right. We know what's right. We also have to recognize the people that stand beside us, men that support women. We appreciate you. White people that support black people and brown people, we support you, we applaud you. We have to recognize that your voice is just as important for the fight as it is for our voices that are in the fight. Because, you know, I tell my colleagues all the time when I'm on We Need to Talk on CBS, we have these discussions that come up. Let's say, for example, something happened with an athlete, or something came up about abuse, or something happened with police brutality, right? So it's a topic when we're on the show. But I tell my colleagues, this is a topic for you. This is a life for me. Because when I leave here, I don't get to change to be something else. I still have to worry about my husband who's driving the car. I still have to worry about my son who's 9 years old because of the color of their skin. No one's asking them questions. No one's going to stop and pull my husband over. If a police officer pulls him over, we hope that everything goes right. Just in terms of the conversation. Let's hope we get to a conversation to make sure you check. My husband has served in the military. He's represented our country. But if he gets pulled over, does the officer know that? He doesn't. Are we going to have the opportunity to have a conversation to say, hey, you know, I'm a law-abiding citizen who has represented our country, but he's not in uniform in that moment. Isn't that amazing? A lot of people don't have to worry about these types of things, but we do. So I tell you, we have to continue to educate and have these conversations with all of our friends. And some people I know, some of my friends even, they're like, oh no, I don't turn on the TV because it's so negative and I don't like to watch it. Yeah, you get the opportunity to tune out if you want to. Some of us, we can't check out on this topic. It is our lives. Every single day, it's our life. And so I encourage you to continue to continue to educate other people about some of the things that are struggles that we have. But some of these things are things that they need to understand, because it's not just a black thing, it's not just a white thing, it's not just a brown thing. It's a people, it's a human top that we have to try to solve this. We are all humans sharing this earth, and we have to figure out a way to get along. As I think about some of the things we can do, it comes down to a word that I like to think of as choice. And choice, if you break that down, I say that the C is for competence. It's important for us to continue to educate people about what's going on. We have to watch the news, people. We have to read the paper. We have to be informed about what's going on politically in our country. We have to be involved. There's no way around it. And sometimes some of us feel like if we don't watch it and we don't participate, then it may not affect us. But it's affecting all of us. And we all have to do our part. That's just the way it is. We didn't sign up for this job, but we're here. And if we're all here and if we all try to do a little bit more to make it better, if we all do a little bit more to try to educate one another, to try to understand each other, we can do it. The H is for hard work. It's not easy. It wasn't easy for Dr. King. It wasn't easy for our ancestors. I always say, think about this. We are the survivors of the strongest ancestors that survived. Think about that. That's who we are. A lot of people have died for us to have these opportunities, for us to be educated, for us to be on these campuses, for us to have the jobs that we have, for us to live in the neighborhoods we have. Think about that. First generation, these young people who are being educated for the first time, think about that. Everybody didn't have that story. But when you think about that, our ancestors, and they fought for it, and you mean to tell me we don't want to speak up? We're tired? We don't want to get involved? It's not an option. It's not an option. We are all a part of this fight, and we have to stand on the side of what's right. O is for optimism, though. You got to be positive. I stay positive about it. I believe that love is the key. I believe in love. I believe that we love people. I believe that just the hellos and the good mornings and the smiles, and someone drops something and you go pick them up, or you see an elderly lady come in or a man and you hold the door. I believe all those little things are important. Good morning, how you doing? I'll ask you, hey, how you doing? How y'all doing? Why not? Why not? We have to learn it and start somewhere. Learn to speak to other people. Now, I know we have this thing sometimes culturally where we only speak to people that look like us. We got to get out of that. We got to get out of that. I know we all do it, because you see somebody who looks like you, hey, just a little head. We got to speak to everybody. It's just those little things. It's the little things. But sometimes we do that. We don't speak to people that don't look like us. That's a little bit. It's not that hard, but it definitely takes hard work. But being positive is really important. The I is for integrity. Oh, yeah. We have to learn to be a person of our word, to work with integrity, to communicate with other people, to be supportive. I love the fact that we're in a time where women are learning to support women. That's important. Having the integrity that it takes to do a job, being a person of your word, having value and standards. Some of that's going away, and we talked a lot about millennials and the new generation, but it's important for you guys to also operate with integrity, to make sure that you're helping and giving back and doing what is right. That's what it's about. It's about doing what's right every day when people are watching or not watching, making the right choice. I see you guys shaking your head, because we know in our core we can do this. And the C is for courage. We talked about Dr. King. I mean, no one had more courage to step out. Maybe you think about a Muhammad Ali, courage to step out when it's challenging, when everything is not going your way. Sometimes we have to speak up for others who can't speak up for themselves. When you see something, we say that saying, when you see something, say something. It rings true. But you got to have the courage to speak up. And sometimes we watch injustice happen to others. If you're sitting silently watching it happen to others, look at yourself. And sometimes some of us have positions where we have the opportunity to use our voice. We have to learn to speak up for others. And the E is execution, because sometimes we'll see it, we'll think it, but we don't always execute that and follow through. Execution is very important. As a dreamer, when you think about the things you want to do to be successful even, to help other people, execution is important. Remember that. So I think about the word choice, and choice is something that's really gotten me through a lot of the things that I wanted to do in life by making these choices, by being confident, going back to school to get my master's, by doing all these jobs. I know people always like, you have so many jobs. Well, I got 5 jobs. I love being a wife. I love being a mom. Gosh, that's a whole job in itself. But I think it's just about having and recognizing what my spiritual gift is. My spiritual gift, what I'm supposed to be doing, is speaking. That's my spiritual gift. That's what God's moved me to do. And so I try to do that even at times when I say, Lord, no, not me. I don't want the mic. That's where I'm supposed to be. And so we have to understand what our spiritual gifts are. How are we supposed to help other people? I believe that's what I'm supposed to do. We all have to look at ourselves and figure out what is our part. And sometimes it takes that idea of asking, why not me? Why not me get involved? Why not me speak up? Why not me use my voice? And I want to give you a few things that you guys can do. Why not me be the person who helps the next generation? How many of us nieces and nephews, you know, young people, see, we're all role models. You may not be a star, you may not be on TV, but we're all role models. Somebody has a niece, a nephew, a little brother, a little sister that looks up to them, right? Raise your hand, anybody. We all, somebody's looking at you. Someone's watching you. Why not be the person who helps someone go back to school? We all know somebody who's not in school who should be in school, right? How can you figure out how to help someone else get their education? How about mentoring? How many of you, mentoring is huge. How many of you actually use your time to mentor someone else? Somebody wants the job that you have. Somebody wants to be where you are. We all have information. Mentorship is huge, and sometimes that gets lost in our communities. Helping out by giving back and mentoring is key for us to share information and knowledge. Also, spending time with like Big Brother, Big Sister, or the YMCA, finding ways to give back to other kids who are underprivileged. I remember what it was like being underprivileged. I remember what it was like not sure what we were going to eat. You know, there are kids right here in our own community. Some people are like, oh, we want to send money over to, you know, all these other countries, sweetheart. Look right here in your backyard. There are plenty of people who need help right now, who $10 and $20 would be a huge help to provide food for them. You don't have to look far to figure out how to help and how to give back. So sometimes we talk about it, and we talk about this sort of in a sweeping, like, oh, we got to give back, we got to do more. No, I want to specifically tell you things that you can do that sometimes we don't think about. What about tutoring kids for an after-school program? My mom was working. I didn't have help for school. I did not have help. I loved learning, and I taught myself everything that I know. From my math, I would study it, read it, do my little flashcards. I was just really organized and type A. But, you know, I love to learn. But there's so many kids who have parents that are working who have no help. Think about that for those of you who are educated. To give back to these kids, they need help with homework. Simple homework. You can see some kids in your neighborhood. Hey, where's your mom? Your mom's at work? You should go walk down there and ask that neighbor if your kids need help. I can help them. I'm very good at science. I'm good at math. There's ways that we can give back and impact our own communities. We have to stop looking out in the world trying to help. Somebody else is going to solve it. We got to solve it. We have to solve it, and it can take one person at a time. You never know how one individual can impact the life of a child. You just never know. You don't know what they're going to be. You don't know how successful they're going to be. And that's not for us to know. We don't have to be like, this kid is going to be a star, so I'm going to help him. See, we can't operate like that. We don't know what this kid is going to be. Just know it takes a village. one kid that you can impact, you don't know how that impact, what your influence is going to be. How they see you clean your house. You know, how they see you prepare a meal. There's so many ways that we can influence each other, and it doesn't have to be, what is the end result? What are they doing for me? Ask yourselves, what are we doing for them? We have to be the ones that give back. How about volunteering in the community to help bridge the gap between local law enforcement? I mean, we know that's an issue all over our country right now. There's things that we can do. How about getting into the church, teaching Sunday school? Hello? Can I get an amen? Yes. I mean, some of us know the Lord, but some of us don't. And that's okay. I think, you know, we all come from different religions, but figure out if there's a way that we can give back and bring someone to God. I'll just leave it at that. I want you guys also volunteer. People in math, taxes. People need help with their finances. You know, the old school finances where you have 4 jars, put a quarter in there for your money and your savings and an emergency. Like, we need basic information about how to save our money and how to invest our money. There's some people who are in real estate and investment. Help. Give back. Share information. There's so much that we can do. Guys, we don't have to sit on the sideline and watch other people do it. I think sometimes we're in such a time of information that we look at the social media, we look at everything that's happening on the news, and it looks like those people are doing it. But it's not those people. It's just, yes, maybe you see television and cameras, but it's us. It's the people right here. It's the everyday people that have an opportunity to impact the lives of people. We have to recognize the importance of that. We have to ask ourselves, why not me? Why not me get involved? Why not me give back? I really want you guys to know that it's been more than a blessing for me to come here and share my time and day with you. I always try, and as you can see, I try to put God first in everything that I do, because it is an honor to recognize that I've been given a platform to use my voice, to hopefully to inspire others to think more of themselves and ask the question, why not me? Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for Hall of Famer Lisa. Thank you, Lisa, for your time here at Oakland University. We certainly appreciate your being here and your deliverance of that message to us. I believe we have members of our OU women's basketball team who are present today. And I believe they have a gift they'd like to present to you, Lisa. We're going to try to gather around real quick for a photo so we can get right over here. Lisa, if I can have you stand right there in the center so we get ourselves organized. Thank you. Right here. Right here. Thank you very much. So we do have some time remaining in our program, and at this point, Lisa is willing to answer a few questions from the audience. We do have microphones in both center aisles here, so if you have a question you'd like to present to Ms. Lisa Leslie, please come to the podium at this time. Sorry, yes, to the microphones in the aisle, not up here. Our first question over here from one of our sponsors.
Hi Lisa, my name is Sherry Nunberry, and I just wanted you to inspire some of the ladies in the audience, because I'm sure growing up you dealt with some body shaming because you're so beautiful and tall, and people probably still say things that are inappropriate. And so, can you just speak to that to some of the younger ladies in the audience? Being full-figured, I've seen some things that I think that are not appropriate, and I'm sure you can comment as well.
Yeah, I think when it comes to being different, we're all different, right? And so I think there is an exception to the rule when you're tall, that people are allowed to say and make comments that you wouldn't normally say probably to other people, right? So, you know, in dealing with it, I was really, again, lucky. My mom being 6'2", I'm 6'5", which is, I know, that's what I said, oh Lord. You know, being tall pretty much all my life, my mom just would tell me things like people grow on the inside and some people grow on the outside, and our family's been blessed enough to do both. So you gotta just keep your head up high and learn to love yourself. And I really think it just comes down to self-love, you know. Again, we didn't get in line and push buttons on what, you know, hair, nose, eye color, height, what we want. You get what you get, and so you have to be thankful. And I think just thinking about, you know, some people don't have legs or arms or different things, you know what I mean? And so for me to have such an extreme length, I had to learn to love it and love it early, and so I did. There was a time when I was younger, people teased me, I got called olive oil, and people would say, Lisa, act your age, not your shoe size. Oh, that's right, they're the same. Because I was 12 and wore a size 12 shoe. But you know, my mom also would give me little things to say back. And so, you know, I used to say stuff like, that's all right, one day my feet gonna make you money. And so, and then I had a Nike contract, right? I'm still a Nike athlete. So, you know, God has a way of taking care of everything. And then the thing I would just say is you just gotta learn to love yourself and what you have. Look in the mirror, love yourself. That this is it. And you know, I learned that early, and I got really comfortable in my own skin. Thank you for asking. Yes.
Lisa, my name is Dorothea Billy, and I graduated here from OU in 2012. And you're actually my favorite favorite. But my question is, recently they have made some changes in the WNBA and how the players have made more money. Do you think that's enough money that they have made in the changes?
I think, so what she's speaking about is that just recently the WNBA has got a new contract, and the contract is guaranteeing 6 figures, which is about, on average, $130,000 and up to $500,000 per season. Which also includes maternity leave and full payment while on maternity leave, as well as travel, better travel, upgraded travel, as well as housing for the young ladies to have. If you do have a child, you get to have like a 2-bedroom apartment, and if you are traveling, the women now don't have to share rooms. I think it's a great step. It's amazing progress. I'm very happy to be alive to see that happen. I think it's kind of funny when you start to talk about money in general, though, because On average, when you look at what the average American makes, it's an astounding amount of money to make for a season that's probably 5 months or 6 months. To be able to make $500,000 is great. I think what we have to not do is compare the WNBA to the NBA, because the league is almost 50 years older. And so when you look back at the time of the age of the WNBA and what the women are making, yeah, that is a great amount of money. And we're really proud of that contract. And hopefully we'll continue to see progress, you know, over time. But I'm very happy with that.
Thank you.
You are very beautiful, and thank you for inspiring me today.
Oh, thank you. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Good morning.
So glad to meet you. I'm so happy to be here. Hi, Sherry.
Hey, Sherry.
I'm very happy to be here. I graduated from here with my master's and my PhD in 2003, and I got lost this morning. But I wanted to get here to hear you, and I love the approach you made, especially to the students and the younger people about choice.
Yes.
Because we all have choices, and I hope that they listen to what you had to say, and I hope that they devour it and make it work for them, because don't let anybody tell you you can't do it.
Yeah.
Find a way to do it anyway. Because I retired now, I'm in my community, doing the same thing with the young people.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Yeah.
I said, if somebody asks you how you feel, tell them you feel absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And say it with, like that's a choice, because you can say, I'm at Tonga today. You can
Yeah.
come up with excuses. So I want to thank you, and I'm glad to be here back on campus. It just really changed.
Thank
Guess
you.
what? Guess what, fellow alum? I donate.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're the Westmontville, or we're some of the players from Westmontville High School, and we was wondering, when did you start taking basketball more seriously? Like, when you started to like really develop?
When I started playing basketball in the 7th grade, which was the first time I ever played. I started taking it seriously in the 8th grade, and what I mean by seriously is, I think when you think about sports in general, sports, eventually everybody will know how to, you know the rules and which way to run. But when you say seriously, it's a mental thing. So here's a little nugget. 10% of it is basketball, the other 90% is mental. I'm just mentally tougher than most people you'll ever meet. And it's a mindset. So I told you that we are the strongest survivors of our ancestors, right? So you have to know in your mind you're stronger than most people too, but you have to believe it. And what that strength is a decision that you make that you're going to be the best, you're going to do your best every single day. What happens is most people don't want to make that choice because it's quite a sacrifice. The sacrifice is deciding that you want to be good. The sacrifice is that every single day you got to show up and be better and push yourself harder than everybody else. But I'll tell you another secret is life. Life, to be successful, you got to decide you're going to get up every day and work harder than most people that you're around. You have to plan, you have to sacrifice. I missed my high school graduation. I missed hanging out with friends. I've never been to a party when I was like in high school. I did go to my prom, but the sacrifice was that I wanted to be the best. I wanted to get good grades, so I did my homework and I played my sports. That's what I focused on. But I can tell you the benefit of it was by the time I was 24, I owned my own home and I had a car, which was a big deal. So it's about sacrifice and mental toughness. And sometimes, you know, kids aren't willing to do that. I have kids. I have a 12-year-old daughter, 9-year-old son, and I have to tell them to turn the TV off and go. My daughter plays tennis, go toss your ball, go do what this is what you said you wanted to do, so you gotta go do it. You gotta sacrifice, turn the TV off, get off the phone, get off the computer, Sacrifice. Are you willing to make the sacrifice?
Yeah, of course.
No, it's not of course. It really isn't. Because most people are not willing to. And that's the difference in being successful, is being willing to sacrifice some fun, being willing. Parents, everybody knows, everybody older, like, You have to make some sacrifices. And everybody, young people are not always willing to sacrifice their happiness and their fun to win, to work hard. But you can do it.
I just wanted to ask on behalf of the women's basketball team, how as a female and African American did you transition from a professional career in sports to a professional career as a businesswoman and leader and philanthropist in such a male-dominated and white field?
That's a great question. I really honestly believe it started with the stories I told you about my mom. Like, why not me? Why can't I be successful? And I don't look at those barriers of being a female and being black as a negative. I look at it as a positive. Like, look, I have to be better. I have to be smarter. I have to be stronger. Those are just, that's the way it is. And I have to show up more prepared than anyone else in anything. So in sports, I don't want to just know what I'm supposed to do at the 4 or the 5. I want to know what the 1 is responsible to do, what is the 3. I want to know every position. I want to know what the coach knows. So you have to be hungry for information. You have to want to learn. And I have an appetite for wanting to learn. I think when it came to my goals, I would write down my goals. My short-term goals were goals that focused on what I wanted to do in school, my GPA. They also focused on what I wanted to do on the court, like whether it's averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, whatever it was, I would write those things down. But my long-term goals, I told you, were goals within 5 years. In those 5 years, I would write down, I wanted to get my undergrad degrees in communications, as you can see. My master's is in business. I think when we're women, we have to realize, I wasn't sure, the WNBA didn't exist when I played. So my thought was always about what am I going to do next. So I've always been interested in trying to figure out what I was going to do business-wise. Again, my spiritual gift was the microphone, so broadcasting became as natural. Modeling I liked just because I was really tall, and then people always gave me compliments like, you should be a model. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me try that. I enjoyed it some. That's a lot of hard work too, walking the streets and asking people to validate whether you're, beautiful or not is a tough thing to do. But also, I think, like I do real estate. I'm a licensed realtor, and that came from once I started to make money, I learned to investing my money into property. And so I think it's a matter of knowing that we don't have to be just one thing. And sometimes, even our family, when we're young kids, say, what do you want to be? And we got to pick this one thing we want to be, and it's like, that's what you want to be, that's what you're, we don't have to be one thing. I'm a realtor, I'm a broadcaster, I'm a public speaker, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. Like I wear a lot of hats, and I do that because my mom told me I didn't have to be just one thing. But if I worked hard, I could be anything. And so I really believe that it's a mindset of, we sometimes put ourselves in this box. You don't have to be in that box. You can play basketball, but you could be in the arts or be an actress. You don't have to be just one thing. And so I recommend writing down your goals. Short-term goals is what you're focused on for this year, but your long-term goals are, what do you want to be when this is over? What happens? I retired at the age of 36, I think. I mean, that's really young. I'm as old as a basketball player. But that's so young. Like 36, like I have a whole, hopefully another 80 years. So I have to, plan for life. And sometimes as athletes, we don't always get that message to plan for life. Like basketball or sports is one piece of what you do, but there's more to life than just sports, okay?
Leslie, I just want to say thank you for speaking to us and helping pave the way for us as athletes as well.
Oh, thank you.
It's okay, take your time. So, I'm really into things like basketball and volleyball, but I have a slower reaction time than most other girls my age. And because of that, whenever I do something wrong, like I miss a hit in volleyball, or like I miss a shot in basketball, I get looks and like, why did you do that? Or it was yours. And what advice would you give for girls like me? Because I know I'm not the only one out there. So what advice would you give to us?
I think, honestly, you have to give yourself a break. Don't beat yourself up first. And then when other people, because sometimes it happens, I just had a talk with a kid in the gym at my son's basketball game who's good but made quite a few mistakes, but also yelled at all the other kids. And I'm like, you gotta look at how you're making other people feel. So sometimes you have to recognize when you're in sports, right? Sports is like life. It's challenging. It's hard. It doesn't always go your way, and you sometimes lose. That is life. Sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. The thing you want to figure out in this space is who you are. How do you deal with adversity? Look at yourself in the mirror. How are you reacting to other people when they make a mistake? Because sometimes you have to give out what you want. When someone makes a mistake, go over and go, that's okay, good try, right? You start to spread that, and then after a while, when you make a mistake, someone will say to you, that's all right, good try, keep going, right? Because it's about camaraderie. It's about figuring out how do you inspire and uplift other people in those moments. You try hard, you work hard, you do your best. Now you have to also ask yourself, are you doing all that you can to be successful? You know what I mean? Maybe you have to do some extra things. Maybe you need to ask some of your teammates to meet you to hit some balls, or jump rope, or you do a little bit extra, do some extra things that will help you have more success. But if you're not putting in the time, don't expect to have success if you're not putting in extra work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so you know what you're doing, whether you're giving it your all, whether you're putting in extra work or you're not, but also it's about the relationships. And if someone is not being kind to you, then it's okay to say, hey, we should have a team meeting. Sometimes you pull your team together and just say, hey, you know, I'm out here, I'm doing my best, and I feel like some people are really negative towards me. It's not making me feel good. Communicate. It's okay to say that too. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good luck. Is this our last question? Okay, last question, guys.
It's not really a question, I just I'm one of 5 girls in my family, and my sisters are from 1 to 5, 5'1" to 5'3", and then there's me. So I understand the questions you got and things like that and the comments and whatever. But my one thing is, can I take a tall girl picture with a tall girl? That's it.
Okay, no problem. Does anybody else have one question? No? Okay, well thank you guys so much. This has been an amazing day for me.
So at this point, we want to give another round of applause for the three selectors. And I'd like to close our program by again saying thank you to everyone for supporting the historic Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award celebration through your presence here today, your scholarship gifts, and all that you do to continue the journey that Dr. King began. It's been an honor for me to continue to be a part of this ever-growing legacy of the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award celebration. 28 years now, y'all. 28